Hey everyone, so I'm here to talk to you today about Stargirl. Now, when Stargirl first came out, I won't lie to you, I was not sure how it was going to be. At this point in time, Stargirl was one of those shows that had come out on DC Universe, which was their platform where they had some original content like Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol, Titans. We're all on that service, and Stargirl was going to be the newest one coming out on DC Universe. When it premiered, it was able to premiere basically at the same time on DC Universe, but also on the CW itself, and that's where I really watched that app, or watched that show really on that app when it first came out. Now, when Stargirl came out, I was pleasantly surprised. I felt the costume design was great, the chemistry that all of the characters had, from Stargirl to Hourman to the new Dr. Midnight to Wildcat. I felt they had really great chemistry as a team. And I'll even toss Pat in there as well, who played her guardian / protector role in the show. But they all had really great chemistry. The show had excellent pacing. You know, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't typical CW kind of drama, if you know what I mean by when I say that. So I was pleasantly surprised by Stargirl. So how Stargirl ended, it ended very well, but some of the long-lasting questions that I had, and this is spoilers, so if you haven't watched Stargirl Season 1, you may want to do that on the CW app. You could go look it up. The whole season should be there, and I believe it was on HBO Max as well. But check both of those places. You may be able to watch both of them. But the way it ended essentially kind of threw me for a loop. So we had, again, spoilers, we had Wildcat, being the one to presumably kill Brainwave Sr. And I'm very curious to see how Yolanda's character deals with that, especially because the way the show introduced her was someone who had a lot of connection to her religion and spirituality. So I'll be curious to see if there are any conflicts with her in that regard. We have Hourman, who essentially defeated the person who was responsible for his parents' death and showed Solomon Grundy mercy. So looking to see what more can Hourman have and bring, and where his character goes this upcoming season. We had Dr. Midnight, who had the glasses crushed. So let's see what she could do with not having that technology with her in order to assist and help the team. I'd really love to see her character step into her own and kind of, make her being Dr. Midnight something that's original to the group. And then we have Courtney, Stargirl. Essentially with her, at the end of the season, the staff stopped working for her a little bit. Sorry if you heard that, that was my washer. But the staff stopped working for her a little bit. And what happened next is that the original Starman kind of showed up in Blue Valley, and that literally had me like, what? With him showing up, because what that immediately would show to me is that they might do another arc of, is she the right one to use the staff? And to be honest, I'm not super interested in seeing that again, because I feel like we already had that staff not being responsive to her. And I would hate to see her kind of backtrack into the original Starman is here, let me give him the staff. Just because, again, we already did that. So I hope there's a new angle there. How many of these original JSA people are alive to begin with? I felt like all of them died in that opening scene that we saw, but apparently they're all alive. So I'm curious, why now has the original Starman gotten back? Or come back to Blue Valley. Very curious to see, but I'm looking forward to seeing what season 2 brings. But I'm about to go watch episode 1, and then I will come right back here. See you in a little. So you're back with me. Welcome back. So I just finished watching Stargirl season 2, episode 1, and Whoa, I have a lot to say. I have my notes right here, so if I'm looking down, it's literally just because I'm trying to read my notes. I try to do these reviews, / me talking about it right after I watch, just so you get that kind of raw emotion, thought, and to hear what I was thinking. I'm really looking forward to hearing what your thoughts were on the episode, so please feel free to leave that comment in the comment section, and I'll be sure to write back to you about that. So let's start it off. So Stargirl Season 2, Episode 1, entitled Summer School. We had some kind of flashback, or we were with some characters we didn't know. A little girl named Rachel, going through something where she was a little bit jealous of someone, and this little like shadow demon-y thing called Bruce was around her. I completely forgot in my beginning segment this whole Eclipso thing was coming, so that was definitely Eclipso feeding into Rachel's thoughts to make her do different kinds of things in the episode. So that's a little bit crazy, but we'll see what goes on with that as we continue this Eclipso flashback. One thing I would say is Courtney, even in the first season, I just felt Courtney was very eager, almost a little too eager, and I need her to calm down because her eagerness is not going to serve her well, and she makes very rash, unpractical decisions. But I guess that makes sense when you have, you know, a superhero in high school, right? They shouldn't have everything right together. They're supposed to learn and develop in their time wearing the mask. So we'll hopefully see that change in Courtney as we continue on. One thing I noted, that the Green Lantern, like the physical lantern, was pulsing down in the basement. They really should do a better job of locking up some of those things. I don't even think they remember they had that purple pen. Last we saw it was like somewhere upstairs in either Mike or Courtney's room. They really need to do a better job of locking up all those weapons and items, but I guess that'll be something they'll need to learn about as the show continues. So many villains were listed. I can't even remember the name. I want to say Gentleman Ghost, Alpha, Dedegadon, or something like that. I'm not even going to look into that. You shouldn't look into that either. They're just spitting out names. You know, they brought up Flash. They brought up Green Lantern. Not going to speculate anything at all. I'll wait for the show to show me those characters. But there were a lot of villains listed. I always feel bad for Beth. She just lives a very lonely life, which is why, you know, the loss of Chuck, the AI in her goggles, meant so much to her, because it was someone or something that she could talk to, interact with, that would pay her attention. Like, yes, she has her gang at school, the same gang that she does a lot of the crime fighting with. But, you know, even her home life, you know, she always made these meals for her family, but they just never really seemed to have, you know, the time for her. So Chuck was that kind of outlet for her. So hopefully she's able to fix it. But I think this will also be an opportunity for Beth to kind of step into her own and become her own person, because it oftentimes seems like she just lives there for the betterment of others. But like, I want to know Beth. Who's Beth at Beth's core? Yeah. And how sad was it that in like the mail that she picked up, she found her family's divorce papers? Like, yo, that's rough. That's rough. Yolanda, just like I told you all, like, dealing with the trauma of what she had to do in that situation where she did have to, you know, kill Brainwave. She's dealing with that trauma. She went to, you know, the church, which I'm glad she's still able to go there, and that's a place of solace for her. Although she started hearing like weird echoes, so I'm curious if Eclipso is still involved or still present somehow. Maybe Eclipso feeds off like the dark thoughts, and what a better place to be and hide than in a church where people are confessing their sins. Careful, Yolanda. You better not be possessed by Eclipso later on in the season. Courtney flipping Artemis was a pretty awesome scene. You know, at the time I was like, wow, Artemis is really about to do this, because I'm with Courtney on this one. Artemis looked directly at her when she started talking about how her family got sent to prison. She looked directly at Courtney. Artemis may say, I was giving Jake or whatever the lacrosse stick, the hockey stick, but I don't know. I don't know about that. Courtney, I respect the move, but like, again, gotta remember time and place. You gotta think who's looking, because if she hit you with that stick, that principal was right on it, and he would have got her. So, you gotta think about time and place. Courtney had a very rude line to Pat, as per usual with Courtney, where she was like, I can't quit, I'm Stargirl, I have to protect the city, I won't quit like you did, Pat. Courtney, chill. Like, that's so rude. He didn't just quit like that. Like, everyone he saw died. I mean, at least it's presented like they died. Who knows for sure, though. Cameron, we saw him. I guess he's looking to repaint some wall mural. I forgot he was an artist, but did they recast him? Because he was like, hey, Courtney, I've gone away for a while and I've come back. He looks hella different to me, but maybe I'm wrong. If he was recast, can somebody let me know? He just didn't look like how I remembered him. And of course the grandparents were there like, he should know the truth about that wicked girl. But, yeah, I'm sure they'll teach him eventually. But they like seeing him smile because I guess he's been sad because his dad's been gone for a while. So that will come to fruition, I'm sure, later on. Zeke, the mechanic, he was just a little bit too eager. I'm telling you, the eagerness. But he got into the storeroom and was tinkering with the robot, giving advice about, like, putting a flamethrower there. So it's clear once Pat accepts him, he will become kind of like someone who could help with the maintenance and tech of the robot, which I think it desperately needs, because I think Pat said he kind of built it himself, but he's not a mechanic like that. So having Zeke around will be able to help with that. While Beth was setting up her family dinner, she was, she heard like the goggles start to make this noise, and she tried to talk, and she's like, Chuck, is that you? And the person was like, who is this? So I think somehow Beth may have contacted the original Dr. Midnight, but again, how many of these people are still alive? Like, I literally thought they all died. Like, none of them seem to have died. We got Starman still around. They're talking to Dr. Midnight, the real one, assuming that's Dr. Midnight who contacted through the glasses or goggles. Like, I thought they all died. So the fact that, like, people are still reaching out to them on that is really blowing my brain. But, it is what it is. And then the episode ended with this fight scene between Courtney, Stargirl, and someone who says that they are Green Lantern's daughter. One thing I'll give this show, the fight choreography is really, really good. The first time I ever really saw Stargirl was way back in Smallville, when they brought, some of those JSA characters in, and they didn't really do too much with the staff fighting, but the show has done a great job of incorporating how Courtney could utilize that staff with the gymnastics, her gymnastic ability that they showed us in and throughout season 1, in a very organic way, and it really complements. They do a great job with the fight scenes on this show, but I also really like the entrance of Green Lantern's daughter and how she, was able to hold her own, but also utilize, that energy beam to blast Courtney across. But Courtney, don't you have any respect for your home? But we'll see. And then there was like a more to the end scene where Cindy was down in like, the Injustice Society's like base, and she's getting ready to organize her team, ripped up the picture of Brainwave Jr. because he's dead, had everything ready, pulled out an Artemis picture, pulled out that musician guy, the violinist or whatever, I forget. They didn't really go into them, but the violinist parents pulled out the child's photo, put it down, giving me a heavy Rick vibes from Degrassi, if just based on look. Then, pulled out Icicle Jr., pulled out his photo, and then she pulled out a photo of Mike. I was not expecting that at all. So I'd be very curious how she plans to pull Mike into this, or maybe Mike is a target. But that kind of seemed like she was lining up her team. Now that would be a very interesting dynamic if Mike gets involved with the ISA, just because he lives at that house. But if he's not going to get involved in like the heroics, maybe he leans more on the villain side because he gets jealous and not involved. But very good start for episode 1. Looking forward to episode 2, and yeah, that's all that I really have to say about it. It's just a lot to process. So thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace. Rebecca, stay inside. Go inside, Rebecca. Stranger danger. Rebecca. Rebecca nearly just got hit by... Is this Final Destination? Rebecca. Or as Klaus says, Rebecca! If you know the reference.